Uh, can you guys hear me? Yeah, I want to apologize. English is not my primary language. I speak in Hindi, so if you guys spot any grammatical errors, please don't take it personally. No disrespect to English. So, uh, my name is Balram Vishwakarma. I am a non-academic ethnographer. Very hard, very deep word. I was actually told this in 2022 by a professor of a central institute that what you're doing is called ethnography. I'm like, oh wow, is that so? And said yes, but since you're not in a college or an institute, you should call yourself a non-academic ethnographer. So that is how I decided to, you know, talk about myself. So, uh, how do we go? आगे कैसे जाना होता है भाई? अच्छा, अच्छा, oh keyboard, sweet, thank you. Okay, so great city, great city, Detroit. I'm so glad to be in Detroit. Uh, this city gave America its one of the biggest, like the most, I would say the biggest asset America could ever get. Uh, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Of course, it's Eminem. What did you guys thought he was? Yeah. So yesterday we went on Detroit's tour and we came across a lot of abandoned houses and a lot of rich and affluent housing societies and everything. And so apparently I came across, I discovered the place called Grosse Point and Detroit. So Detroit is like for poor folks, like folks mostly from the marginalized Black and Latino communities, and Grosse Point is basically white folks and everything like that. So I was told that, can you see the difference between both the communities and localities? And the first thing that came to my mind was, this is so subtle. Yeah, the city I come from, it's not that subtle. Oh my God, look at this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's not it. Look at this. Yeah. So all the blue parts are slums of Mumbai, squatters, or you can use any other words like that. And all the green parts that you guys see, so those parts are basically the official Mumbai, the taxpayers, the direct taxpayers. There you go. Most iconic picture. Right side is Powai, left side is Sakinaka, and this is why a lot of people like clicking pictures of Mumbai in the night, because when you're in the darkness, you cannot see your scars, your face's scars. So that is it. My parents are from the state of Bihar in India. It's like Florida of US. So yeah. So basically, they migrated from Bihar to Mumbai in the 1980s because they were very passionate about not dying of starvation, because our village had a starvation problem. Yeah. And they eventually shifted to this slum called Behram Bagh. Here's the best part about Behram Bagh. Behram Bagh is so, people do not want to be associated with Behram Bagh so hard that if you see this map, uh, the top left and bottom side is Andheri West. And there's this big, huge chunk in between. It's Behram Bagh. So Andheri West doesn't want to be associated with Behram Bagh, even though it's like literally in between that. So that is the slum I grew up in for the first 26 years of my life with my family. When my father passed away in 2014, I was 20 years old. So obviously, naturally, I'm the son of the house, patriarchy wins. So I'm supposed to like start making money for the family, because even though we are patriarch, but still we are still poor. So I decided to start working at, he had a small welding shop. So I started welding, but thanks to surplus Chinese import and GST and all those things, the shop did not run that way. Thankfully, my father, I had multiple elder sisters, but all of them went to Hindi medium school, and all of a sudden my parents thought that, oh, it's a son now. I think we have enough money to send him to an English medium school. So they sent me to an English medium school. What that helped me was getting a call center job. So after the welding gig did not work for 2 years, I joined this call center called Intellinet. Never mind. Here, anyways, I worked there for 1.5 years. I found out my worth. Eventually, you found out your worth, that it's not restricted to a card. So I joined a marketing agency because I used to also make memes for if you want to impress a woman, uh, you need to have something, right? I don't have generational wealth. I look at me like, I don't have looks. and the poetry department is taken care of by this city in Madhya Pradesh called Indore. So all these Indore boys have been making really good, writing really good poetries, and you can't compete with these people in open mics, man. They're like too good. So I used to make memes for my crushes, and that is how I got my first job at Filter Copy. It's it's like online organization. They make content on YouTube. So I handle the social media. Then I worked in Filter Copy for 3 years. Then I worked in a couple of more organizations. So these are just humble flex. These are the organizations I worked in the past. Uh, I need to have a conversation with CEO of Good Bad Films about something. Here, apart from that, after making some decent money, I came to know about that I have this neurodivergent issue called ADHD. That happened only when I had money, because when you have money, you have access to therapist. So if you're poor, you do not know. Anyway, so the problem with my ADHD is it's like I have 10 channels running constantly at the same time. To give an example, what I'm doing currently at this moment is basically, this is my creative agency called Scrollback Studios. This is where the real money comes from. Then there is a page, it's a meme page called Virtue Signaling page called Andheri where shit posting. Yeah, yeah. Then I found out that folks in Mumbai are really lonely and they do not know how to interact with fellow humans in general. So I decided to start this offline screening scene called Warsaw Heritage. Wow. Warsaw homemade screening. And every bi-weekly, we basically uh, screen one film with the director of that film. So the last film that we screened was Killa by the director Avinash Arun, who recently made Three of Us. Yeah. And the next week, like on the 20th, we will be showing Amit Masurkar's. That's a good film name. Never mind. Yeah. Suleimani Kida. There you go. And then I have another page called Films in Mumbai. It's basically, think of any international indie film or regional film that has very limited screening. And you really want to watch that, but you not know how to watch that. So that's a great page. I'm not done. I also do some non-academic, surface level research. Uh, and I also take heritage walks of Andheri. So, but all of this is, I'm not talking about all of these things. I'm talking about something that is very personal to me. I found a very fancy name to this project. It's called Hidden in Plain Sights. So it's basically, imagine the year is 2070. Someone like Anurag Kashyap 2.0 wants to make a Bombay helmet, like wants to gamble again. And he wants to make a film about Mumbai of 2022, 2024, and he needs a reference book about how people were in 2022. So what I do is basically, I document people, like the labor class of Mumbai, in a very systematic way that has developed over 2 years now. So the first thing is that. The second thing is, if you look at the representation of Mumbai in mainstream media, it's pathetic. It always comes from a South Bombay gaze, and so I hate this. A lot of people like Wake Up Sid because, oh my God, it's so romantic. Look at this dude hugging her and everything. People in the slums of Mumbai die during rainy season. It is the worst season to be a Mumbaiker living in the slums. I lost a very good friend in 11th when I was in junior college. She got electrocuted because she was putting a charger and the walls had some faulty wire line, because obviously the slums do not have proper insulation and wiring, and she died. A lot of people in the slums, they die. Like the roof can fall off, the walls can fall off, people can die. And but then again, we have the South Bombay gays, as I would say. They have dominated the entire Mumbai culture, that this is what Mumbai is all about. So even if you've never been to Mumbai, you would assume every Mumbaiker who lives in Mumbai is Amitabh Bachchan or Shah Rukh Khan's neighbor, which is not the fact. If you look at any content creator, this is the entire map of Mumbai. You would only see three locations. That is the town side, there's the Bandra side, and maybe if you want to show some corporate people, then uh, Dadar or Lower Parel side. The content creators are not doing great job in that. And I had a lot of hopes with this person who runs a page very similar to Humans of New York. I wouldn't take the name of that page. You can just assume the page is Humans of New York, but discounted. Yeah. They would really not really get into the depth of the slum problems in Mumbai. Like Brandon is a different, I love Brandon in general, but this person is not even close to that. And again, even if you're talking about the slums of Mumbai, uh, there are two ways a lot of creators talk about. One is daya bhavna. How do you empathy, like sympathy? You look at this poor person. I'm giving him 10 rupees. Can someone record me giving him 10 rupees so I can increase my social capital? That is the one way. The second way is basically romanticizing the slums of Mumbai. Yeah. So the first one is Kala, where Rajnikant says slums are amazing. Screw him. Some slums are not amazing. Ask him to stay 2 nights in slums, and he'll know what I'm talking about. Gully Boy, at the same time, glorified slums, and there's a massive problem of gays. So what do I do? How do I tell people about things? But then I don't have any creds, and it's not even like that. I have an entire political science degree that people will hear me. So I decided to write about facts. Those who know. Yeah. I started taking interviews of people that are based on only hardcore data. Wood polisher, key maker, idli, the Dunzo delivery guy, the floor miller of Mumbai. Here's how one interview looks like. This is the bait that stops you from scrolling. This is his bio. This is the daily schedule, properly written. Then average monthly balance sheet, very important. How much he makes, how much he spends on the business, then how much he spends on a business, on living in Mumbai, and how much money does he even save. For example, this wood polisher guy does not save a single amount of money, even though he works like 6 days a week for like 11 to 12 hours. And then Q&As, the questions you would want to ask the laborers, but you are too shy to ask. So I ask, and then you guys can like, you know, and then there's a selection criteria to ensure that only the decent representation of that skill is getting documented for that. And then this is a very elaborate question. I can send you guys the PDF of the latest questions that I have. It's more than 200 questions. Each interview lasts for more than 1 hour sometimes. Uh, and the compensation, obviously, again, if I'm taking someone's interview, I am getting social clout. I am getting called in the USA for the first time. It's everything great for me. What is up for them? So what I do is when I take their interview, I give them some amount of compensation for the time that they spend. That is like five, let's just say for men 1,000, women, queer folks 1,500, Dalit and tribal men 1,500, uh, queer folks and Dalit and tribal women 2,000. And if I'm getting a branded post, for example, this was a brand called Tartan. I got, let's just say 100% from them. Then I distributed 50% was with me, 50% was with them, so that they don't feel that Balram is taking benefit of me. And the social challenges of this process is a lot of people, when I approach them, they are too afraid. They think that the BMC or the cops or the footpath, there's a thing called footpath mafia. You pay 5,000 to 10,000 rupees for a footpath spot in Mumbai as a hawker to that mafia, and that mafia gives that money to BMC or police and all that. It's a very well-established way of licensing public space in a very corrupt way. Love it. So a lot of people are afraid that they will come behind him. Uh, uh, there's also a biggest problem of people misquoting their income. Yeah. And the biggest problem apart from that is rejection. If I ask 10 people, one will agree. And if I take 5 interviews, one interview will always be botched. Like either the person is lying or the person is trying to make a fool out of me or something. So I have to scrap that. I have to give him money, but I can't upload that content. And sometimes folks be like, oh, I do not like this. I'm my business is in threat. Can you take it down? So I also have to take it down. The personal challenges, the insights can be traumatizing. For example, I spent $20 in eating something, and that is the amount like for a meal, and that is the amount of money that most of these people make in half month. So these things stay in my mind rent free. So it's not a great time to be. Can take a toll on your time and amount of income because I'm paying people money, and it's a very labor intensive process. So it takes a lot of time. I spend almost 50% of my time finding people to willing to take interview, 20% for the interview, and 30% for the post interview, because I have to, hear the entire interview again, then I have to write and everything. Platform challenges, Instagram. This is a very serious way of making content. So you can't read it in 30 seconds flat. You have to dedicate 5 to 6 minutes. Instagram does not like that because I upload pictures, so they don't push my content. So I do not have funds to shoot videos because right now my cost is about 10 to 15,000 in conducting one interview, rupees, of course. If I do a video, then it bounces to 60, 70,000. So that's a problem. Future aspiration for this is I am hoping to finish 100 interviews and publish a book. convert into documentary series with similar themes, and connect with microfinances bank to help folks get loan. Quick question: how much is the credit card interest rate here? Can anyone tell me? If you, huh? 30%, right? The average interest people pay in to the loan sharks in Mumbai is, if you take 10,000 rupees from me, you're supposed to pay me 1,000 rupees every month. That's 120% interest every year that people are supposed to do. And if they do not pay, they get sexually assaulted, they get beaten up. So that's there. So my objective is to connect them with microfinances. Then future aspirations of giving back to the community. I was raised in the slums. I came back from the slums. Now I'm living in a gated community, but I have to give it back to the slums. So I'm hoping to give study material to into students from underprivileged colleges, hire more. So I have my agency. So I make it a point that I only hire Dalit, tribal, linguistic, minority, Muslim candidates from slums of Mumbai, so they can get exposure the way I got exposure. Train more folks from the slums to take up marketing and media jobs, because these jobs are like, once you know, you making baller money. And then create an ecosystem where folks are exposed to good content pieces. Right now what happens is the entire Mumbai culture is hijacked by the South Bombay people, who always, even if they have to make a film on slums, it always be from a second perspective. My thing is, why do I need that person? Why can't I just groom a person, make them a decent filmmaker, and then for the next 30 years, he can make a great film in that zone. And then the last one is expose folks to alternate career paths instead of sarkari jobs like railway, police, army, bank, and clerk jobs. That's about it. And I am also acknowledging my male privilege right now, because I have a lot of elder sisters, and if it's like a butterfly effect. If my father would have not sent me to an English medium school, I would have not gotten access to pop culture references that would have made me stand in front of you guys in USA for the first time in my life. If it was my sisters who got exposed to that, like my elder sister, they would have been at a better place. So just acknowledging my privileges here. And that's about it. All the images were shamelessly stolen from the internet. So thank you guys.